Hi guys, this is Mr. Adams from Midwood High School, and this video is to help with the recent worksheet I sent out in terms of assigning oxidation numbers. I was looking through it, and most of the questions are straightforward, but a student emailed me this morning and asked about number 5, which is actually a little tricky. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to look at it carefully, all right? Now, what we're going to do right now, we want to assign oxidation numbers. And I put over here tricky polyatomic ions, all right? So let's put some oxidation numbers in. Now, we know from experience, right? Hydrogen, okay? Hydrogen is going to be +1, right? And we know oxygen is going to be -2, -2, okay? Now, oxygen here, O2, by itself, what's the oxidation number going to be? Okay, it's going to be 0. Okay, good. All right. Now, the temptation here, right, might be to say, okay, I know oxygen is -2, so I'll put a -2 there, and I know hydrogen is +1, right? But what happens if you call this -2? You have 2 oxygens, each -2. So what's 2 times -2, people? 2 times -2 is -4. And what plus -4 gives you 0? Okay, for the neutral compound, it would have to be +4, right? But the thing is, these 2 hydrogens, right, are +1 each, right? So they won't give you +4. They'll only give you +2. All right. So we have to evaluate the situation carefully again. All right. Now, we know from experience, okay, get rid of some of this right here. We know from experience, right, okay, that we have some things called polyatomic ions. So let's go with hydrogen first. All right. Hydrogen, okay, has a oxidation number of +1. Okay. So we have 2 oxygens here. Now we have 2 hydrogens here and 2 oxygens here. So I have 2, right, times +1. What is that? 2 times +1 is +2. Okay. And what plus +2 gives you 0? Okay, that's a question. So we know -2 plus +2 gives us 0, right? So these 2 oxygens here carry a charge of -2, all right? So what's the value for 1 oxygen? If 2 oxygens, okay, 2 oxygens equal to -2, all right? The value for 1 oxygen must be -2 divided by 2 equals to -1, all right? So here we see that oxygen has a -1 oxidation state. And if your memory banks serve you correctly, remember, guys, we have this thing called what? We have this guy called peroxide, okay? And peroxides, right, are interesting in that they're a polyatomic ion, okay, because there's two different, not two of the same atom, two atoms together carrying a charge, all right? So we have 2 oxygens carrying a charge of -2. And in redox chemistry, when we assign oxidation numbers, it's always for what? It's always for 1 atom, all right? So if 2 oxygens, once again, give us -2, 1 oxygen for peroxide must be -1. Okay, good. So that's the guy right there. So -1 goes here. All right. So let's look at it again. We have +1 for hydrogen, -2 for that oxygen, 0 for that oxygen, right? And if you notice, right, this oxygen is going from what? It's going from -2, okay, up to -1. So this particular oxygen is being what? Is being oxidized. This oxygen, on the other hand, is going from what? Is going from 0 down to what? Down to -1. It's kind of strange, right? They're both going to the same oxidation number, right? Now, there's a term you're going to learn later on when you move on to college and so on called disproportionation, all right? But I'm not going to delve into that too much, but that's what's going on here. They have the same elements, right? Okay, basically going towards the same oxidation number. All right, no problem. But from different oxidation numbers, go to the same oxidation number. But don't stress that too much. Okay, so let's move on. SN is here, and we have two Cls. We know from most of the time, right? The halides and the high electronegative something guy like chlorine, right? His oxidation number will be what? Will be -1. Okay? Since we have two of them, okay, there, it's going to be 2 times -1. And what's 2 times -1? 2 times -1 is -2. Okay? So the question is now, what plus -2 gives me 0? It has to be +2. So +2 is for that 10. All right. Now here again, we are reacting it with this guy right here, with 2 chlorines in it again. And each chlorine is what? Each chlorine is -1. Okay. All right. And what's 2 times -1? 2 times -1, -1 again is -2. All right. 2 times -1 is -2. What plus -2 gives you 0? +2. All right. Okay. Here we go. Let's move on. Here we have 4 chlorines. So what's 4 times -1? Okay. 4 times -1 is -4, right? Now, what plus -4 gives you 0? +4. Let me make some space here. Okay. I'm going to erase this right here. Okay. Okay, so +4 is our value for +4 is our value for that 10 over there. All right. So let's move on over here now. Now, we have to be careful here, folks. We have 2 chlorines, right? Okay. Each of them is what? Each of them is -1. Okay. Now, what's 2 times -1? 2 times -1 is -2. Okay. Now, if the negative side is -2, what plus -2 gives me 0? And the question is +2. Now, we have to be careful. +2 is for how many mercuries, how many Hgs? 2 Hgs, all right? 2 Hgs are +2. So each Hg must be what? Each Hg must be +1. You know what I'll do? I'll write it over here. 2 Hgs, right, are equal to +2. Therefore, 1 Hg must be what? Must be +1. And that so happens, folks, to also be a polyatomic ion, a very strange polyatomic ion, which we really don't use much. But this is a guy right here, okay, mercury 1. Okay, so let's go back. So this guy here is +1, okay? Now, who got oxidized, who got reduced in this particular example? He's going from what? +2 to +4. So if you're going from +2 to +4, you would say this guy got oxidized, okay? And if you're going from +2 down to +1, you would say this guy right here got reduced, okay? Alrighty, guys, so those are the polyatomic ion questions on that recent worksheet. As always, hard work plus sacrifice equals success. And as I always say, guys, please, please, please be safe. We know it's a trying and tough time right now, but we will get through this. Take care.